Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris, and since the beginning of 2023, I've been on a journey of personal development and a quest to live the more intentional life. And I'm here to share that journey with you and hope that you'll join me. Today, I want to share with you a key behavior that people will have that will guarantee you a life full of frustration. So let's talk about it. In a previous video, I shared with you that some of the most miserable people in the world are people who believe that they have no control over their life. People who believe that everything's against them, every person's against them, that no matter how hard I try or what I learn or what I do, someone will always keep me down, someone will always stop me from success. People who believe everybody else and the situations of life are to blame for their lack of success. That is a miserable way to live. If you're going to be a success in life, and if you're going to live the more intentional life, you have to believe you have something called personal agency. That means that you do have control over your own life. Now, you don't necessarily have all control over everything, but you have control over what you're going to believe about yourself and about others. You have the control over the way you show up in life. You have control over if you are going to show up with a positive attitude or a negative attitude. You have power to decide how you're going to respond to negative situations. You have the power to decide how you're going to respond to negative people. If you're going to be a success in life, you do have to believe that there's a lot of stuff in your life that is in your personal power to change or to control. Now, on the other side of that, you can't control everything. And just like I said, some of the most miserable people in the world are those who believe they have no control. Some of the most frustrated people in the world are those that are trying to control things that are outside of their control. If you are trying to force something that is not in your ability to control, it's like banging your head against a brick wall, and you are going to live a frustrated life, constantly trying to change what you can't change. Now, as we talked about in the last video, you have personal agency. That means there's things about your own life you can control. But you are not in control of all of the situations and circumstances that happen around you. And you're not in control. Listen to this. This is so very, very important. If you don't want to live a life of frustration, you are not in control of other people. And that is the thing that causes so many people to live in frustration, is they're constantly trying to change other people instead of changing themselves. This is one of the major issues in society today. This really is a big part of what's become woke culture, what's become part of cancel culture. And I believe this is why so many people seem to be more frustrated and more unhappy in life, is because they are trying to control what other people believe and what other people do and what other people say. And it leads to a life of frustration. There are people out there with the attitude, I'm going to make you believe what I believe. I'm going to make you accept what I accept. I'm going to make you call me by what I want you to call me. And that is a recipe for frustration. Really, what a big part of cancel culture has become is societal terrorism. That if you don't agree with me, if you don't say what I want you to say or do what I want you to do, we are together going to cancel you. And even if you can get someone to acquiesce to what you want to say, even if you can put pressure on them until they are afraid to speak their own mind, afraid to have their own opinions, you are hurting our culture as a whole. We are supposed to be a group with different opinions, different thoughts, different ideas. And we are all supposed to have the freedom to be able to share those things without retribution from a person or a group of people who just don't like what we say. Now, I'm not talking about continuing to advocate or strive for equality in areas. I'm not talking about continuing to do what you can do to help the less fortunate. I'm not talking about any of that. But I'm saying once you try to say you're going to have to do this or else what? That person doesn't have to do anything you don't want them to do, and it's going to just again lead to a life of frustration, a life of banging your head against the wall. Now, this might seem like a mean or controversial statement, but if you're happy with your life, the things you believe, the choices you've made, then prove it by just being happy. Find your group that can be happy with you, and don't let anybody else who believes different than you or accepts things different than you, don't let them frustrate your life by you focusing on those people. Focus on the ones that are with you, that are together with you. I'm also not saying you can't influence other people. There are things you can do that can greatly increase your chances that people will see your point of view, that people will see your value, or that people will give you opportunities they may not have given you before. But it is not through control and manipulation. But if you are one of those people who push and push and push and say, I'm going to make you accept me, I'm going to make you accept my beliefs, you are going to live a life full of frustration, and it's not worth it. It is not worth sacrificing the joy and the happiness that you could have living the life that you think is right, trying to force other people to believe and think exactly like you do. And this is important in living the more intentional life, because when you set intention, you want to set intention in the right thing. You know, there are people who have set their intentions on forcing people to believe and think the way they do. That's the wrong way to live the more intentional life. The more intentional life is to set intentions. What do I have personal agency over? What can I do? What decisions can I make? What skills can I learn? What can I say or what can I do to lead to my success, while understanding there's just certain areas and certain people that are never going to see things my way. They might never accept me. They may never believe the way I do, and I'm going to be perfectly okay with that. Listen, if you want to learn more about what it means to live the more intentional life, check out this playlist over here. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And until I see you again, go out there and live the frustration-free, more intentional life.